Fazza had always believed that love was something you found like a lost coin glinting under sunlight, waiting patiently for the right person to notice it. He never imagined that love would one day become something he would lose, and in losing it, discover something far more complicated: himself. The city he lived in was loud, alive, and restless, but Fazza had always been the quiet kind. Not weak, just observant. The kind of man who listened more than he spoke, who noticed the way people smiled differently depending on who they were with, who understood silence better than conversations. People thought they knew him, but the truth was, Fazza himself hadn't fully met who he really was. Until her name was Ara. She didn't enter his life like a storm. There were no dramatic moments, no cinematic collisions. She walked in like a calm breeze, unnoticed at first, but impossible to ignore once you felt her presence. Their first conversation was simple, almost forgettable. But sometimes, the most ordinary beginnings carry the weight of extraordinary endings. Ara had a way of speaking that made words feel lighter. She laughed easily, but not carelessly. Her eyes held stories she never fully told, and Fazza found himself wanting to read them like a book with missing pages. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into something neither of them defined. They didn't rush into labeling what they had. It wasn't necessary. There was comfort in the in-between where expectations hadn't yet taken shape, and everything felt real without needing validation. For the first time in his life, Fazza felt seen. Not admired. Not judged. Just understood. And that was enough to change everything. Love didn't hit Fazza like lightning. It grew slowly, like roots beneath the soil, quiet, invisible, but strong. He began to notice the way his day felt incomplete without hearing from her. How his thoughts circled back to her even in the middle of busy moments. how her happiness started to matter more than his own. He didn't say it out loud at first, but love has a way of revealing itself, even in silence. Ara noticed it too. Not through grand gestures, but through the small things. The way Fazza remembered details she forgot mentioning. The way he stayed present during her worst days. The way he never tried to fix her, only to understand her. They didn't fall in love. They became it. But love, as beautiful as it is, doesn't always come with permanence. The shift didn't happen overnight. It was subtle. A missed call here. A delayed reply there. Conversations that once flowed effortlessly began to feel forced. Not broken, just different. Like a melody that had lost its rhythm. Fazza noticed. Of course he did. He always noticed. But this time, instead of asking questions, he chose silence. Not because he didn't care but because he cared too much to push. Ara changed. Or maybe, she just became someone he hadn't fully known yet. There were things she wasn't ready to share. Battles she fought alone. Fears she buried deep enough that even love couldn't reach them. And sometimes, no matter how deeply you love someone, you cannot heal what they are not ready to face. The end didn't come with a dramatic goodbye. There was no shouting, no tears in the moment, no final argument that broke everything. It ended in a quiet conversation. The kind that feels heavier than any fight. I think we're losing ourselves, she said softly. Fazza didn't respond immediately. Because deep down, he knew. Love had become something they were trying to hold onto, instead of something they were naturally living. I don't want to lose you, he finally said. Ara smiled, but there was sadness in it. Maybe we already have. And just like that, something that once felt infinite, ended. After she left, Fazza didn't break. At least, not in the way people expected. There were no public displays of heartbreak. No dramatic changes. No visible collapse. But inside, everything shifted. The silence he once loved now felt heavy. The calm he once carried now felt empty. And for the first time in his life, Fazza felt lost, not because he didn't know where to go, but because he didn't know who he was without her. Days turned into nights filled with thoughts he couldn't escape. He replayed memories like scenes from a movie, searching for the moment things started to change. Wondering if he could have done something differently. Questioning whether love had failed, or if he had. But answers never came. Only realization did. Slowly. Painfully. Honestly. Fazza began to understand something he had never considered before. He had built parts of himself around her. His happiness. His routine. His sense of purpose. And when she left, those parts didn't just disappear, they took pieces of him with them. That's when the real journey began. Not the love story. The self-story. He started spending time alone, not as an escape, but as a necessity. He walked through places they used to visit, not to relieve memories, but to face them. At first, it hurt. Every corner reminded him of something. Every song carried her voice. Every silence echoed her absence. But slowly, the pain changed. It didn't disappear. It transformed. Fazza began to see things differently. He realized that love wasn't meant to complete him. It was meant to complement him. And somewhere along the way, he had forgotten that. He had given so much of himself to the relationship that he had lost sight of who he was without it. So he started rebuilding. Not the same version of himself. A new one. A stronger one. a more aware one. He rediscovered things he once loved. Writing, long walks, late-night thoughts that weren't about anyone else. He began to enjoy his own company not because he had no other choice, but because he finally understood its value. Months passed, and for the first time, Fazza didn't feel incomplete. He felt whole. Not because he had moved on from Era, but because he had moved closer to himself. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold, Fazza sat alone just like he used to. But this time, the silence felt different. It wasn't empty. It was peaceful. He smiled. Not because everything was perfect, but because he finally understood something that love had taught him in the most unexpected way. Sometimes, you meet someone not to stay with them forever, but to meet the version of yourself you were meant to become. Era didn't stay. But what she left behind was a man who finally knew himself. And that was Fazza's real love story. Not the one where he found someone else, but the one where, after love ended, he met himself. This channel is all about poetic stories and emotional content inspired by Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Fazza, the Crown Prince of Dubai. Here, you will find deep poetry, love stories, and powerful lines reflecting his royal lifestyle, silent strength, and emotional side. Backhand index pointing right. Please like and share and subscribe my channel for more beautiful poetry and poems. Red heart. Thanks for watching my videos.